Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Love Encompassed podcast with your hosts, Phil and Victoria. We are really excited to get into today's topic, which is
forgiveness. Gotta have it.
Song. I feel like that's
Please forgive me. That's an old song, though. That's from the 80s.
Yeah, that's definitely. I wouldn't know that one at all.
It's Bryan Adams.
I don't know who that is.
Well, it's a great song. Please forgive me. That should be the title of this whole thing. Please forgive me.
Nice.
It's how we have spent 19 years of marriage as me singing Please Forgive Me by Bryan Adams.
It was not you singing it. But anybody who's ever been in a relationship or just living life, I'm pretty sure that we have all been in situations to where you're
going to need forgiveness.
And here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to forgive. Is it,
that's
the
true
best
too.
thing for you to forgive? Yeah.
Yes.
But technically, you don't have to forgive.
I mean, you should technically forgive because forgiveness is for you. It's not so much for the other person. So, and we're big Bible people. So the Bible does say, hey, you need to forgive.
Right. But that's
forgive
what I'm saying.
Others.
I mean, is it beneficial? Yes.
Yes.
Is it good for you to do? Yes. But it's still a choice.
It is a choice. You can choose not to forgive and be miserable.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
And the thing I think sometimes with forgiveness or with unforgiveness is that it can be deceiving because there are people that I've had conversations with or I've heard, whether you're watching TV or an interview or something like that where you say or you hear the person say, I'm not forgiving that or that's unforgivable. And I'm not saying there are super horrible things that happen that would make a person feel that way. But in the moment, you think that if I hold on to it, that it isn't causing you any harm, And I'm curious, down the road, how that person is doing who made that choice to say, nope, I'm not forgiving you. You can think it's not causing any harm to you, but I think it does.
Yeah, I think what it does is it starts to make you bitter over time. Like you start to have resentment, you start to have bitterness. That things start to build in your heart. You can't necessarily see it on the outside. We can all pretend, right? You ever get in a fight with your spouse or somebody and then like you pull into a restaurant or you're meeting people and you're like, hey, everybody, you can like put it on or whatever. But what I'm saying is it starts to like on the inside of you, it will start to like eat at you. I mean, I've known people that it's been years since they've been divorced or it's been years since whatever. And they still have the same anger, resentment that they had 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I think if you are not careful, while you're thinking, okay, I'm not going to forgive that thing or forgive that person, that you are in a way protecting yourself or you're in a way making them pay for it. When in reality, I think you are really giving them that much more power
100%.
over you because now it is dictating like your day, your emotions, how you move forward, how you interact with people in the future because of that thing. I'm not saying that when we go through stuff, we shouldn't, if it's a negative thing, we shouldn't remind ourselves to make better choices in the future, but not to have other people pay for someone that did something to you in the past.
Yeah, I think you can forgive. Forgiveness, I can forgive all right, so let's look at it. So like forgiveness with us. So I screw up, I make a mistake because we have
what?
It is
Perfect.
It's a rarity. It's a rarity. And that's why I started with that because it doesn't happen very much. But let's say I say something dumb, which is a possibility. You can forgive and you're like, all right, I know his heart behind it. Or I know his heart in general. This was a moment of stupidity, not a lifetime of current decisions, right? Like things like that. So the forgiveness may be easier to be like, oh, I can forgive that. That's simple. When it's repetitive behavior over and over, you still have to forgive, but it's so difficult because you're like, you should know better.
And sometimes it isn't so much, I think, yes, the repetitive behavior, but sometimes it's not so much like I'm aware of this repetitive behavior. Sometimes I think when you love someone, and this is not just marriage wise, I think it's relationships in general. If I love a friend hard, or if I love a family member hard, or whoever the person is, if I love this person so much, sometimes I think what happens is that love can blind us to the negative patterns that we were in with that person.
Yeah.
And I think when our eyes are finally open to, and I'm speaking from experience as well, your eyes are finally open to, oh my gosh, this relationship's been one-sided. And I think that can hurt deep, right? Because especially if you're a person it's like all in, you're super loyal, you're super loving, and to realize that the relationship was one-sided, to realize that the person really didn't rock with you like they did, especially if it's someone that you held dear to your heart, that stings.
Yeah, that hurts.
And you don't realize, now when you look back at it, you could probably be like, man, the writing's on the wall. I missed these things that this person was doing because I just love them so much. That hurts really deeply too.
Yeah. So then what do you do? Because now you got to forgive to move forward, right? Because it's better for you to not hold on to it like we talked about. So then what do you do? It's like somebody who somebody cuts me off in traffic. I'm a super nice guy. So, it's easy to move my day on or whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody does me dirty that I've really cared about. It takes a second.
Yeah. I think it depends. I would say in my experience, if I say, okay, I forgive the person, and, it's like, I don't want to say like there's steps to it, but for me,
4-step process to forgiving someone.
For me, it's like, it's been moments where, it's easier, quicker to forgive. And this may sound like there shouldn't be like levels to how you can work through unforgiveness with someone. But for me, that's kind of how it felt. Like something someone can do, and I can say, you know what, Lord, forgive them. They didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think their intention was to truly be spiteful or hateful or truly to be and show up in this way. So I'm just gonna forgive him and forgive it and forget it and keep it moving. There are other times for me where it has been harder, and I think it is dependent upon the relationship that I had with that person. Having to let go of what I wanted it to be. And then, what has really helped me is writing a letter to that person to get it all out, right?
Dear Phil.
No. But just to get it all out. And there has been moments where I'm just, okay, after I do that, then, sometimes it's like dealing with the residual of. Yeah. So it's just praying for that person. And I feel like in praying for that person, eventually, I do feel like that just works its way out of you. So those are just ways that I have maneuvered through that process. And it's like what the Bible says, how many times do you forgive? 7 times 7. Sometimes there are moments where I can forgive that person. I have let it go. I have moved on. And then, something can happen or a memory flash up that kind of sparks those feelings and emotions that was tied to what happened again with that person. And then you have to say, hey, no, I forgive that person, whatever, until it's something that you have really worked out of your heart to where you do see that person and your heart is like, man, I really hope they're doing well and I do wish them the best.
Yeah.
I heard someone say, which I thought was really good, and I don't know if it's biblically correct. You could probably add into this. But just because I forgive that person, especially if it's like, man, this person has a toxic way of being in my life, I can forgive that person, but it does not mean that I allow them to have access again to my heart.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you could do that. I'm trying to think of how, like, if I forgive you, and I let it go, and it's as if nothing happened, then how do I guess in the same token, I mean, the Bible does say guard your heart with all diligence because out of it flows the issues of life. So you do guard yourself, right? You are guarding your heart. I'm not going to allow you to keep having a repetitive behavior and allowing you to keep doing those things to me when, if it's a one-way street and it's a one-sided relationship. I'm not going to allow you to keep doing that. But I also think I can't allow myself to get attached and to the emotions and everything that goes with it. What I mean by that is like you have emotions and feelings for a reason, but you can't be ruled by them.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I can forgive you for what you did. I'm not going to give you the emotional space that I once did to allow you to keep doing that. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is like if somebody does something to me wrong in traffic, I'm never going to see that person again.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't give them a second thought.
Yeah.
Right? And because they've moved on, I don't give them a place where I carry it with me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to take a shower with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on vacation with people when I'm supposed to be enjoying my family, but I'm talking about how wrong this person did me or that person did me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to live my life that way.
I heard someone say, which I thought was good, it's not so much like, when I say not giving access to that person to have my heart again. Of course, we're talking about, situations where if that person, if I were to allow them back into my life, would be like continue to be in a toxic way. I think that's what they were referring to as like access to my heart again. It's not like, okay, I've closed you off. But I heard someone say, which I thought was good, is like, okay, me forgiving that person, okay, it's a clean slate. I now have to relearn who you really are.
Yeah, I have to, now that you did what you did.
Yeah.
Right? And it was not one time, it was a repetitive thing. Now I've got to learn, this is who you are. I have to relearn this person, whether or not I want this person to be in my home, be in whatever it is. Now, obviously, marriage is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So like when you're in marriage, you got to forgive. Like, if
you want a happy one.
If you want a happy marriage, you're going to have to forgive. And I do believe in the Bible in the sense of love covers a multitude of sin. And the saying of if love can't cover it, you have to confront it. So there are times where there's little things that happen here and there, and you're just like, you know what? I love them. I forgive them.
Right.
There's other things that you're like, hey, when you said that to me,
right,
we need to have a conversation.
Right, that really hit hard. Or
that hurt or whatever. But if you want a happy marriage, you want to be a good parent, you want to be a good friend, you're going to have to forgive and not carry unforgiveness, because especially in marriage, the more unforgiveness you carry, the farther the distance will get between. You don't realize the walls that are being built and distance gets, and that's really how people end up in affairs, because they start talking to somebody else because they're offended or whatever it is, and then they have emotional affairs or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think you have to talk through it, we have been there in those situations where, a person may have said something, or maybe we didn't feel the support that we would have wanted in a particular situation. Hey, that really bothered me. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, let's work through that. So then, if you find yourself, I think, in a situation where, and I think for the most part, when we think about in marriage, people may see the ultimate betrayal is an affair.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And yes, making sure you forgive the person, whatever. But in that conversation and discussing the next steps of, okay, there's a healing process that comes with it too. You know what I mean?
Because even if they, you are or were in a relationship where there was an affair that happened, right? And let's say you forgive and you move forward. No couples that way that it's worked out. Maybe it doesn't work out. You still have to forgive, or otherwise you just carry that you'll carry that. And I think we've talked about that. You'll carry it into the next relationship, or you'll carry it into the next person that you're with, because you'll think, oh my gosh, they're going to do exactly what the other person did to me.
Yeah. And that even goes to with, not everyone was blessed with awesome parents, understanding parents. So there may be situations where you do have a family member, whether it's a parent or a sibling, aunt, uncle, whoever that person is in your life, that you are having a hard time with, and maybe they've done something to where you find yourself of, man, this is not healthy for me. And just speaking from a personal place, I have a family member, I'm not going to say who the party is, but I have a family member who I felt like I would forgive, and I would do the whole Lord forgive them if they didn't know what they do. Certainly that person wouldn't have done that to me had they have known. I forgive them. I'm going to move forward. It's going to be okay. And then, my goodness, just when I did forgive and I would clean the slate, okay, and move forward, if they wouldn't do something again, that felt like just when I had healed, another stab in the heart or whatever. And it got to a place where, okay, I can forgive you. And this is, I think, where I had to learn that I had to understand that even in my forgiving of them, that I had to be aware of, it does not erase who they are as a person. And I have to accept this person for who they are and not who I want them to be. And I have to operate from that space in my relationship with them. So because of that, I forgive you again for however many, the umpteenth, 50, 11th time. But now I do have to move you into a different space because you're too toxic for me. You know, it doesn't mean like if I see that person, I'm not going to speak to them. It doesn't mean when I see that person, I'm not going to show them love. But the access that you once had as far as like, or the relationship, you know, as far as being super close, until some behaviors change, that can't happen.
Right. I think of, just Bible-wise, you think of David and Saul. It's like Saul kept throwing spears. Eventually, David had to run.
Yeah.
Or he was going to die.
Yeah.
And even when he had the chance to kill Saul, he didn't do it. Right? And I've had chances, not necessarily to kill people.
That's good.
Let's make that clear. Kill him with words.
Yeah.
I could have killed him with words.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Well, they're going to kill you with words. Well, then let them kill me with words. But I'm not going to kill them with my words.
Right. Because you have to, so important, I'm learning as I get older, you really have to maintain your peace and sanity.
Yes. And we've been big about that even in our home. Like, we maintain a peace in our home. Like, we're really big about that. And some people are like, oh, no. It's like, dude, we just do. That's something that we've always talked about and something we'll always do. Because it's like, you know, and I want to be clear. It's like, I don't, even people that have done me wrong, you wrong, you know, it's like, I don't want anything bad to happen to people.
No, not at all.
You know, it's a great Tupac quote. Probably not great for a relationship podcast, but I want you to eat. I just don't want you to eat at my table.
I love that.
Tupac. He's a real poet.
I love that. But I think it's like you said, it's not like stuff doesn't come up in our home. It's not like our boys don't get into it. It's not like we don't have our disagreements. But I think the way we disagree, we try to make sure we disagree. And I think we've talked about it on podcasts, other episodes before. But the way in which we disagree, we still try to do it in a respectful way and manner. We don't degrade or put each other down in a moment of disagreement. And we try to teach the same with our boys, have emotional intelligence and how to confront situations, how to have those conversations and different things of that nature. So to kind of like put it in totality in the relationships that we have with people, spouse, friend, whomever, you know, being able to step back and look at a situation and say, okay, no matter the situation, yes, you should forgive because it's, like you said, it's for yourself more than anything, to maintain your peace, to maintain your happiness, to maintain your health, right? Because when we hold on to things and carry things, it can change the chemistry within your body, right?
Yeah.
But also, you just don't want that negativity in your life. So, okay, if it's these departments, yes, no matter what, I'm going to forgive. But if this person and this relationship, I'm operating in this space, obviously confront, have the conversation. Don't just be cutting people off and they don't
Right.
know what's
Like,
what.
did me wrong. Another one gone.
But have the conversation. Okay, you know what? I have tried to express my boundary. I have tried to express how this person has done this thing to me. I've tried to express how they can show up better for me and if I'm showing up well for them, and it's just not working. Okay, well, I still forgive you, but obviously the relationship has changed, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of assessing what that looks like for you as a person, but still making sure you're operating in a place of love and forgiveness and clear-mindedness. And I understand there are times where there may be someone in our lives where we are trying to get resolved, we are trying to get resolution, but the person just isn't making it easy. Well, okay, you know what? I tried, and I'm just gonna have to move forward from that.
Yeah. You just got to pray and move on.
Yeah,
And that's the hard part.
yeah, it can be.
Yeah. Because then you go to pray for him and you're like, kill him.
Oh my gosh,
Lord.
you've been watching too many Criminal Minds.
I'm just kidding. You don't say that to them. You do pray for him, though.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the best way to get it.
I feel like that has definitely helped in getting and letting go of things,
Yeah, 100%. Because otherwise, like I said, you just carry that stuff with you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And then you're not a happy person like me.
Wow, you're doing too much right now. Well, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us today. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscription button and the notification button and share with a friend. If you are listening to us on Apple and Spotify, we want to say thank you. Continue to follow, share with a friend, leave a review if you haven't already. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Love Encompassed Podcast, as well as Phil Clemens and Victoria Clemens. And until next time, see you later.
See you later.